Hey there. It's another beautiful day and I've got my coffee. Let's watch some stuff.
What are liminal spaces, and why are we so intrigued and interested in the back rooms? Liminal spaces are the subject of an internet aesthetic portraying empty or abandoned places that appear eerie, forlorn, and often surreal. In architecture, liminal spaces are defined as the physical spaces between one destination and the next. So what exactly is it about liminal spaces that make us feel a sense of eeriness and fear? This is because liminal spaces are often associated with transitions, which can be unsettling for some people. Liminal spaces often capture places that feel familiar, almost as if you have been there before, but still something feels off and foreign about the place. It gives off a nostalgic feel to it as well. This is because these liminal space photos remind us of our childhood, often portraying empty birthday parties, abandoned malls, and empty houses. You feel the loneliness and uncanny that these photos hold, and the back rooms does nothing less. Exploring endless hallways with seemingly limitless levels and no escape. Some say they would love to no-clip into the back rooms, exploring for eternity. What do you think? Comment down below what you would do if you had no-clipped into the back rooms. Would you try to find an escape? Or would you explore and admire the mere beauty of these spaces, hoping there isn't something nearby?
That video did a good job going a little more in depth on what we talked about yesterday as far as liminal spaces, how it's a familiar area where you recall things happening, but there is nothing going on. And it's a really strange situation to see a place like that that's just void of all activity. And then they said when you no clip into the back rooms, and I had to ask my husband what that meant. And it's like in video games when you like fall through the map. That's terrifying, to like fall through the world and just be in back rooms. It doesn't sound fun. What would you do? Would you want to explore, or would you be like, get me out of here? I would not want to check anything out. I don't like being scared for my life. Hey, I just want to take a second and thank you so much for hanging out with me for today's coffee talk. If you're having a good time, maybe you'd consider hitting that subscribe button and come back tomorrow, because I'm making a new video every day.
All these aliens coming back are actually people from the future. If you like look at a human head from like years ago,
I hate this.
The jaws were much bigger, right? Because we used our jaws to like,
rip apart.
Yeah, like to do stuff like that. But the foreheads were receded. And so if you think about how we've evolved, the jaws come in, the head's gotten a little bit bigger on the top end. And so if there is a cataclysmic event and we become underground people, our eyes will enlarge as well. So if you think of all the like cliche alien pictures, translucent skin, but that would mean that, to your point, they are coming back to help.
Well, yeah, I'm hoping
care about humankind.
What if the aliens that we're seeing so much of is coming to prepare us for this war, and they're going to fight on our behalf? They're going to take over. They're on our team. That's why they're surveilling us more and more now, because AI is growing bigger.
AI robots.
Oh no.
There was 4 of them, and they went crazy and killed 29 people in the lab.
Yeah.
No.
When was this?
Don't.
I'm not going to talk about the 4 robots that went on a rampage, because we already talked about that in a previous video, but I will leave that link in the description below so you can go and check that video out. But as far as aliens being from the future and how the evolution went, and thinking of how the evolution could continue in the event that there's some cataclysm and we go underground, that is pretty cool. That is a really, really neat theory, and I like that. Do you like that theory? 'Cause I like that theory. I think that is super neat.
Led by Admiral Richard E. Byrd, Operation High Jump in 1946 was immediately shrouded in mystery. Officially, it was a mission to Antarctica to conduct scientific research and military training, but of course, there were whispers of a secret agenda. Rumors began to circulate that the operation, which involved over 4,000 personnel, 13 ships, and 23 aircraft, was actually meant to locate a secret Nazi base. Known as Base 211, it was allegedly a secret underground complex that housed advanced technology and flying saucers. During the expedition, Admiral Byrd's team allegedly encountered UFOs along with other strange phenomena. The Admiral expressed concerns about a potential aerial attack on the United States using these advanced flying objects. After only 40 days, the mission was terminated. Speculation surrounding strange findings included mammoth-like creatures and a shining city hidden in the middle of Antarctica. After his passing, a secret diary that Admiral Byrd kept describing these encounters was shared with the public. However, there is a lot of skepticism around the authenticity of this diary. In the diary, Admiral Byrd kept meticulous flight logs, but some of them that claim to have been in Antarctica are identical to flight logs that were actually in the North Pole. Along with that, some of the entries in the diary seem to be copied straight from the movie Lost Horizon. Skeptics also argue that the foreword is authored by Raymond Bernard, which raises further doubts. The 1938 Nazi mission to Antarctica was more likely to establish whaling ports to secure resources rather than set up a secret base. Operation High Jump was more likely sent to Antarctica to ensure there wasn't a Nazi base and to potentially secure parts of Antarctica for the United States. Reports of battles with UFOs come from Soviet documents, which are at best questionable. The mission's early termination is most likely due to weather conditions and logistics. In the end, the authenticity of Admiral Byrd's diary does remain uncertain, and we have to keep in mind that the connection between Operation High Jump, Antarctica, and UFOs still remains a mystery.
So Admiral Byrd took a flight over Antarctica, and he was known for keeping very meticulous journals on his flights. And supposedly, he had lost contact for about 3 hours. And during those 3 hours was when his journal supposedly said that he was escorted by flying saucers, and he, found this hidden Nazi base, and then there was woolly mammoth type animals and like greenery, and it was warm, and that's the trip part, right? But his journals were supposedly confiscated except for the one that his son got after his passing. So that's where we get this story from. So if there is land over there, it seems like it's trying to be hidden.
What if everything you knew about time was a lie? According to German historian Herbert Illig, the year isn't 2023, it's 1726. The German historian claims that the Gregorian calendar is a fake and that most of the Middle Ages never happened. It sounds like something a crazy person would say, but Herbert isn't insane. He's a scientist who says he has archaeological evidence to prove what he's calling the phantom time hypothesis. Herbert says the conspiracy began with Pope Sylvester II, Byzantine Emperor Constantine VII, and Roman Emperor Otto III. These three powerful men of the ancient world got together and changed the calendar. Emperor Otto wanted his reign to start in the year 1000 AD instead of when it really started in 996 AD. The reason behind this was that Otto thought 1000 sounded a lot better than 996. The trio then altered documents and created false historical events to make it happen. But they didn't just alter 4 years, they made up 297 years of history. The thought process behind the theory is that between 614 AD and 911 AD, nothing historically significant happened, and Herbert says there are discrepancies between the Julian calendar and the Gregorian calendar. He believes that the architecture in the 10th century was far too modern for when it was supposedly built. There are now supporters who believe the Middle Ages was 300 years shorter than it really was. That would mean Jesus Christ died 1700 years ago, not 2000 years ago like most biblical scholars would claim. Herbert and others who support his theory say there are documents that prove it, and apparently the church is in on it too, knowing full well that we are living in a completely wrong year.
What a silly reason to change, like, the year. It sounds better if it starts at 1000. No, it sounds better if it starts before you turn into 1000. Personally, right? Like, I think it's way cooler to have been born in 1996 than 2000. I mean, you're 4 years older, but still, I was born before the turn of the century, right? That's way cooler.
What was Iraq really hiding? There is a theory that suggests the United States stayed in Iraq for over 10 years after its liberation, not for oil, but for something much more powerful. In the 1920s, a British explorer allegedly discovered what was believed to be the oldest known stargate in the world at the site now known as the Great Ziggurat. However, in the 1980s, Saddam Hussein fortified the ancient complex to prevent explorers from seeing what was hidden inside, or so the government claimed. Furthermore, strange ancient technologies have been observed outside the Great Ziggurat, rumored to originate from an ancient civilization living on the hidden planet Nibiru, accessed through the Stargate. Recently, numerous individuals claiming to have been involved in classified programs in Iraq have emerged, in which Stargate technology purportedly played a role, raising many questions about these missions. This would explain why the United States stayed so long in Iraq.
So there's a Stargate to Nibiru in Iraq. Do you believe it was there? I don't know. This is the first I'm hearing of that. That is kind of cool. I never even thought about Stargates being, in other countries and stuff like that. But there's a Stargate to Nibiru, or there was. Is it still there, or did they get it out? That's interesting. That's a very interesting theory. That's a new one. I've never heard that one before.
The Democrat open borders plan to entrench single-party rule, explained in under 2 minutes. 1. Flood the country with untold millions of illegals by land, sea, and air from all over the world, enough to eclipse the populations of 36 individual U.S. states so far. 2. Prioritize the needs of these millions of non-citizens over the needs of the American citizen, with free flights, buses, hotels, meals, and phones, ensuring their loyalty to the political party that imported them. 3. Keep them in the country at all costs, even when they commit violent crime like murder and rape. Attack the language used to describe the criminals, as opposed to the criminals themselves. Slander critics as racist. 4. Ensure their privileges are made irrevocable with city and state sanctuary laws that act as population magnets. Codify permanent status and ensure non-cooperation with ICE. 5. Count the non-citizens in the census that will determine congressional apportionment in the House of Representatives. As of now, that would equal 13 extra congressional districts, a tremendous amount of electoral power. 6. Wage a massive, heavily funded lawfare campaign to change state voting laws that legalize mass mail-in ballots, no signature verification, and no proof of citizenship requirements, making it nearly impossible to prove voter fraud. 7. Lock in the permanent voting majority with campaign promises of lavish benefits and permanent privileges, enshrining generational fealty to the Democrat Party. 8. Win elections. 9. Entrenched single-party rule has been achieved. The best part? Your tax dollars are paying for it.
I just saw this yesterday and it ticked me off enough to feel like I should probably add this to my video today. It's definitely a creepy thing, isn't it? And you can see these actions actually being taken in New York and in California and in Texas even, where they're just allowing illegal immigrants straight through. And it gets a little more and more creepy every day, doesn't it? Oh, on that note, I'm going to call it for today. Thank you so much for hanging out. I appreciate your time, and I hope to see you tomorrow. Have a wonderful day. Here's my cutting room floor.
3, 2, 1.
I wanted to find a video that explained liminal spaces, liminal spaces. Like we touched on it yesterday. Oh, okay, makes sense. Like, I don't really like fearing for my life. I don't find that exciting. That the Nazis had aliens first. That's not fair. They were bad people. I was unaware. I had no clue. That's not something that I knew. I didn't know that. Why did the Nazis get it first? I'm going to go ahead and be completely transparent on this one. I don't care. It doesn't matter what year it is, what years are missing, or what years never actually existed. Doesn't matter. It's not going to change what's going on right now. So, yeah, I don't care. I just don't. No, it's dumb. As far as the aliens coming from the future, I think we talked about that a little bit before, way back at the beginning, like like um like 30 videos ago. How could everybody be underground? I'm not going to talk about I'm not going to talk about that. I'm not going to say anything about the four robots going crazy, because we already did that in a previous video. So we like went underground and then somehow we're coming back to help in what? That is interesting. So there's a Stargate to Nibiru in Iraq. That's why we stayed there after doing stupid things in their country. Yeah, that's insane. That's absolutely off the wall insane. Get me the hell out of here.